Anthony Fauntleroy. Obviously coming off a tough Knicks loss. I'm going to talk about that today. Um, uh, Played well the whole game. The Knicks played well the whole game. It was very feisty. But I've told people since the beginning of the season that the defense was going to be a problem. Even when they were winning at the beginning of the season, I said I don't like the defense. The Knicks were they were putting up a lot of points, and they were keeping up with teams. And you know, in the playoffs, you need defense. Okay, everybody knows that way back from Michael Jordan to the old Knicks and whatnot like that. You need defense. So sorry about that, my phone. Um, so unfortunately, they lost the game because of defense towards the end of the game. I don't know how you're up 12 points, 14 points, or whatever in the fourth quarter, and you lose the game at home at the Garden. That's very hard to do. I think it's only been done. The last time they done that was years ago. I think 2012 or something like that. Way back, or 2012 was, I know it has a 2 in it, 2002, 2012, something like that. But anyway, the defense came back to haunt them. I have no idea what the coaching staff is doing, why they didn't call a timeout and set up a play. They have Mikal Bridges in the corner taking a shot. He hasn't been playing well since the end of the season. Since the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks of the season, he hasn't been playing well at all. Okay, I have no idea why he had to take that last shot. Why they even had him in there. But obviously he missed the shot. Okay, he could have drove to the basket. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to take a hard shot with a hand in his face. Me personally, the best three players on that court, on the court at that particular time, was OG, Cat, and Brunson. One of those three should have been the ones that took that shot. All three of them can drive to the basket. Okay, there was no reason why Bridges should have took that shot. Okay, now let's go back to who should have been in there. I've been saying for the last couple of weeks also that Jordan Clarkson should actually be in the starting lineup in Bridges' spot. He's a better player. To me, he's a better player. Okay, he's younger. Actually, I don't even know how much younger he is or whatever, but he's more athletic. I know that. He's good on defense. He can drive to the basket. He can pull up for a jumper. So to me, Coach Brown has to make a serious decision on whether he wants to go with Clarkson at the end of a game or stick with Bridges. I'm not a big fan of Bridges. He had his good moments in certain games throughout the season, but they give up 4 picks for him? They give up 4 picks for him. Why? I have no idea. Every once in a while he has a nice defensive play. Every once in a while he makes a nice shot. Every once in a while some things happen. But I would put Jordan Clarkson in the game as the starter. I know Bridges got that whole Iron Man. He went how many games? 5,000 something, whatever it is. 500 and something games, not missed or something like that. But if it's going to cost you playoff games, I think you should put your best players in there. And I think Clarkson is better than Bridges, hands down. His energy level, he drives to the basketball more. You very rarely see Bridges drive to the basket. Like he's scared to drive to the basket. Clarkson's not scared to drive to the basket. Okay, so that's another reason why you should have him, because he's a deep threat and he can drive to the basket. All right, Bridges is one-dimensional. He just shoot from the outside, or he'll pull up. He'll come in and he'll pull up, or he'll shoot from the outside. But you very rarely see him drive to the basket unless he's going for a dunk and there's nobody around. That's when he drives to the basket. But very disturbing loss. Um, they let that one get away. And I don't know what happened with Mitch Robinson with him stepping over the other player, but they kind of pissed Atlanta off now. Okay, now Atlanta's going home. So I hope the Knicks bring their A game when they go to Atlanta. The good thing about Atlanta, though, that's in the Knicks' favor. There's a lot of New York fans in Atlanta. That may help them a game or two because there are a lot of New York Knicks fans in Atlanta. Every time the Knicks play Atlanta, they're cheering for the fans are cheering for the Knicks, even though they're on the road. So that's going to be big. But it's up in the air. I don't know who has the edge right now. You would like to say the Knicks do, but when you up 14 points and you lose the game at home, in the last minutes of the game, that's a problem. I also blame it on the coaching. The defense is the problem. If the Knicks don't win a championship or don't go deep, it's going to be because of their defense. For some strange reason, they think we're in the NBA and they're taking a 3-point shot. Most of their bad defensive problems are on the perimeter. They leave players wide open, expecting professional players to miss these shots. It's like they forget that you're playing against a professional team. These are professional athletes. They can hit outside shots. But that's the big thing that I wanted to talk about. Come on here today because I'm a little frustrated. Still frustrated from yesterday, or from last night watching it. I just couldn't believe they lost. So we'll see what happens. Bounce back game. I'm guessing it may be tomorrow. The next game in Atlanta. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully better coaching. Get Bridges out there. I'm not a fan of Bridges. Not a fan of his at all, He plays well every once in a while, but he hasn't played well in a long time. The playoffs are not going to make it any easier for him. If you couldn't do it during the regular season, now it's the playoffs, and he's still up and down. So I think that's going to be a huge decision that the coaching staff is going to have to make in order for the Knicks to thrive on offense. And strangely enough, the defense actually plays better sometimes. The second string, the bench plays better than the first string sometimes. So I think the coaching staff has to look at that too. So you got Shamet over there. You got Bridges. I mean, not Bridges. You got Deuce. So you got players that can come out there and play. Let them play. Bridges, he's a problem. And I'm almost glad that he took that shot and missed it. Because maybe they'll know now you can't go to him at the end of a game to win a game for you. Maybe they will put Clarkson in there next time when they need that shot. But still, you had Cat on the floor, you had OG on the floor, and you had Brunson on the floor. Those are your three best scorers. The ball should have been in one of their hands. If they missed the shot, they missed the shot. But at least you gave it to your best players. That's something Pat Riley would have done. That's something Jeff Van Gundy would have done. You put the ball in your best players' hands. How many games have Brunson won? Mr. Clutch. I would take him. I would take him missing that shot or getting fouled. He's good at drawing fouls. Why wasn't he the one that drove to the basket with that shot? That made zero sense to me. That's coaching. That's coaching. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully tomorrow. I think the game is tomorrow. I'm not sure. I have to look at the schedule. I believe it's tomorrow. I can't even tell by this. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll bounce back and we get a win. Okay, but I just want to talk about that 'cause that's something that's been bothering me since last night, since the end of the game. I'm like, how they lose this game? So but we'll see what happens tomorrow. But thanks for tuning in. Give it a like or whatever. If you want to talk about the game, I'll get back on here. We'll discuss further. But right now, that's about all I have for today. Thank you, and you have a nice day. Bye bye.